Have you ever walked away from a conversation and forgotten the person's name almost instantly? Or studied for hours only to feel blank during the exam? Maybe you entered a room with a clear purpose and then suddenly it disappeared. If this feels familiar, then this moment matters more than you think, because what you're about to learn is not just helpful, it can completely change how your mind works. In this video, you're going to discover a powerful system to strengthen your memory, sharpen your focus, and finally feel confident in your thinking again. This is not a list of random tips, it's a complete approach that trains your brain step by step. And there's something even better. As you listen, you're also improving your English, naturally. You'll hear clear sentences, useful words, and real expressions that help you understand and speak better over time. So stay with me, because if you truly use what you learn here, you won't just remember more, you'll start trusting your mind again. Let's begin. The first thing you need to understand is simple but powerful. You don't forget because your brain is weak. You forget because your brain was never trained to remember correctly. Many people say, "I have a bad memory." But that's not true. Your memory is not broken, it's just unorganized. Think of your brain like a library. Every time you learn something, a name, a fact, a word, it's like adding a new book. But if you don't place that book in the right spot, if you don't label it or revisit it, it gets lost. The information is there, but you can't find it. This happens because of two types of memory: short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is like writing on a whiteboard. It stays for a moment, but it can disappear quickly. Long-term memory is like writing in a permanent notebook. Once it's there, it stays. The problem is, most people never move information from short-term to long-term. For example, imagine meeting someone new. They say, "Hi, I'm Daniel." You smile, talk for a few minutes, and then leave. Later, someone asks, "What was his name?" And then, suddenly, nothing. Why? Because your brain heard the name but didn't process it. You didn't repeat it. You didn't connect it to anything. You didn't give it meaning. Now imagine a different situation. You hear the name Daniel and you think of someone you already know with that name. You repeat it. "Nice to meet you, Daniel." You use it again during the conversation. Now your brain has done three things. It focused, it connected, and it repeated. That's how memory becomes stronger. So remember this: memory is not a natural talent, it is a trained ability. Once you understand this, everything starts to change. Now, let's move to something even more important: attention. Here's a truth many people don't like to hear. You don't have a memory problem, you have a focus problem. You cannot remember something you never truly noticed. Every day, your brain receives a huge amount of information. Sounds, images, words, messages. If it tried to keep everything, it would be overwhelmed. So, it makes a choice. It keeps what you pay attention to and deletes the rest. Attention is the gatekeeper of memory. Imagine getting out of a car after a long day. You're tired, you're checking your phone, your mind is busy. You leave, and suddenly you realize your bag is missing. You try to remember the car, the driver, the number, but your mind is empty. Why? Because you were not truly present. You saw, but you didn't observe. You heard, but you didn't listen. Your brain never saved the moment. Now think about what would happen if you paused for just a few seconds. You looked carefully. You told yourself, "This is a blue car, the number ends in 42. That small moment of attention could make a big difference. The same thing happens when you study. You read, but your mind is somewhere else. You listen, but you're also thinking about something different. Later, you say, "I studied, but I don't remember." But the truth is, you were not fully there.
From now on, try this simple habit. When something matters, pause, look at it, listen carefully, repeat it in your mind. Even 5 seconds of real focus can change everything. Because if your attention is not present, your memory won't be either. Now, let's go deeper. Your brain does not naturally remember words. It remembers images. If I say tree, you don't see letters in your mind. You see a shape, a color, maybe even a place. This is how your brain works. It stores pictures, not plain text. So, if you want to remember better, you need to turn ideas into images. Let's say you meet someone named Rose. If you only hear the name, you might forget it. But if you imagine her holding a bright red rose, smiling, now the name becomes a picture, and pictures stay longer. The more unusual or emotional the image is, the stronger the memory becomes. For example, if you want to remember the word storm, don't just think of the meaning. Imagine loud thunder, heavy rain, strong wind, dark clouds. Add movement, add sound, make it real. Because when your brain says this is interesting, it decides to keep it. You can use this for anything: names, vocabulary, lists. Instead of trying to memorize like a machine, create a scene in your mind. When learning becomes visual, memory becomes easier. And once you start using this method, you'll notice something powerful. Your mind is no longer struggling to hold information, it's starting to enjoy it, and that changes everything. Now, let's take this idea even further. Now, let's take this one step further, because this is where memory becomes truly powerful. Your brain doesn't just love images, it loves stories. When information is connected in a story, it becomes easier to remember.
Why? Because stories have flow, they have emotion, they have movement. But a simple list, your brain finds it boring. Imagine someone gives you 10 random words and asks you to remember them. You might try hard, repeat them again and again, and still forget most of them. Now imagine turning those same words into a short, funny story. Suddenly, everything connects. One idea leads to the next, and your brain says, "This makes sense. I can follow this." That's the power of storytelling. Let's say you want to remember a few items: a dog, a hat, a bicycle, and a banana. Instead of repeating them, create a scene. Picture a dog wearing a large hat, riding a bicycle, while holding a banana in its mouth. It's strange, it's funny, it's visual, and because of that, it sticks. This method works because your brain enjoys meaning. It wants connections, not isolated pieces. So whenever you need to remember something, turn it into a small story. It doesn't need to be logical. In fact, the more unusual, the better. Because surprise creates memory. Now let's talk about something that most people misunderstand. Repeating something once is not learning. You may feel confident after reading something one time. You understand it, it feels clear. But a few days later, it's gone. This is normal. Your brain is designed to forget what it doesn't see again. So if you want to remember something long-term, you must return to it at the right time. This method is called spaced repetition. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't water it once and expect it to grow forever. You come back. You water it again. You give it time. Memory works the same way. When you review information after a short gap, like after 1 hour, then 1 day, then a few days, your brain starts to recognize a pattern. It says, "I've seen this before. This must be important." And each time you review it, the memory becomes stronger. For example, if you learn a new English word today, don't just leave it there. Use it again later. Say it, write it, hear it. Each time you revisit it, you build a deeper connection. Eventually, it becomes natural. It becomes part of you. Now let's explore something even more powerful than repetition: emotion. Think about your life for a moment. You may forget what you ate last week, but you remember moments that made you feel something strong. A happy memory, a painful moment, a time you felt proud. Why do these stay? Because emotion tells your brain this matters. When you feel something deeply, your brain pays attention, and what it pays attention to, it keeps. So if you want to remember something, don't keep it dry and boring. Add feeling to it. Let's say you're learning a new word like freedom. Don't just learn the definition. Think about a moment when you felt free. Maybe walking outside, finishing something important, or achieving a goal. Now the word is not just a meaning, it's a feeling. And feelings stay longer than facts.
Even if the topic is not interesting, you can still add emotion. Make it personal. Make it meaningful. Because when your brain feels something, it listens more carefully. Now here's another powerful step that many people ignore. If you really want to remember something, teach it. The moment you explain something to someone else, your understanding becomes deeper. You are no longer just receiving information, you are creating it. When you teach, you must remember clearly. You must organize your thoughts. You must use your own words. And that process strengthens memory in a powerful way. For example, if you learn a new idea today, don't keep it inside your head. Say it out loud. Explain it to a friend. Even talk to yourself. You can stand in front of a mirror and say, "Today I learned this." It may feel simple, but it works. Because when you teach, your brain builds stronger pathways. You are not just storing information, you are shaping it. And once you can explain something clearly, it becomes part of you. Now let's move to one of the most fascinating memory techniques ever used. It's called the Mind Palace. This method uses something your brain is already very good at: remembering places. Think about your home. You can probably picture the rooms, the doors, the layout. Even if you haven't thought about it for a long time, it's still clear. That's because your brain naturally remembers locations. The Mind Palace uses this ability. You take a familiar place, like your house, and you place information inside it. Then, in your mind, you walk through that place and collect the information. For example, imagine you want to remember a list of things. You can place each item in a different room. In your living room, you imagine one thing. In your kitchen, another. In your bedroom, something else. But don't just place them normally. Turn them into strong, unusual images. The more creative you are, the better it works. Later, when you need the information, you simply walk through that place in your mind, and everything appears. This method gives structure to your memory, and your brain loves structure. At first, it may feel a little strange, but with practice, it becomes natural. And once you get used to it, you'll be able to remember large amounts of information with ease. Now, before we continue, take a moment to notice something. All these steps are connected. Attention, images, stories, repetition, emotion, teaching, location. They are not separate tricks. They are parts of one system. And when you combine them, your memory becomes stronger than ever before. Now let's go even deeper. Now let's move into a part of memory that most people completely ignore, but it can change everything. What you do right before you sleep has a powerful effect on what you remember. Your brain does not simply shut down at night. While you sleep, it becomes active in a different way. It sorts, organizes, and decides what information to keep. You can think of it like a quiet worker inside your mind. At the end of the day, it reviews everything and asks, what is important? What should stay? And here's the key. The last things you focus on before sleep send a strong signal.
If you spend your final minutes scrolling through random videos, your brain may decide those images are important. But if you review something meaningful, like new words, ideas, or lessons, your brain treats them as valuable. So, create a simple habit. Before you sleep, take just 5 minutes, sit calmly, review what you learned during the day. Say it softly, think about it, visualize it, then go to sleep. This small action can turn weak memories into strong ones. Now let's talk about something simple but extremely powerful: writing. There's a reason why people forget what they read but remember what they write. When you write, your brain becomes active, it slows down, it processes deeply. It's not just seeing information, it's creating it. Think of writing as pressing the save button in your brain. If you only read something, it may pass quickly, but when you write it in your own words, you begin to understand it, and understanding leads to long-term memory. Let's say you learn a new word in English. Instead of just reading it, write it down. Write the meaning. Write a sentence. Connect it to your life. Now the word is not just information, it becomes part of your thinking. Even better, try writing by hand. Typing is fast, but writing by hand is deeper. Your brain feels each letter. It pays more attention, and that builds stronger memory connections. Now, here's another step that separates average learners from strong learners: testing yourself. Most people read something again and again. They feel comfortable because it looks familiar, but familiar is not the same as remembered. The real test is simple. Can you recall it without looking? This method is called active recall. After you learn something, close your book, close your screen, ask yourself, what do I remember? Try to say it.
Try to write it. Try to explain it. At first, it may feel difficult. You may forget parts. That's okay. In fact, that struggle is a good sign. It means your brain is working. Each time you try to recall, you make the memory stronger. It's like training a muscle. The effort is what builds strength. So don't just review, challenge yourself. Because when you can remember something without help, it truly belongs to you. Now let's talk about something deeper, something that affects everything: your mental space. Your brain is not designed to hold endless information. It needs space to work clearly. But today, most people fill their minds with constant noise. Messages, videos, notifications, opinions coming in all day. And when your mind is full of noise, it becomes hard to remember what matters. It's not because you are weak, it's because your brain is overloaded. Imagine trying to write on a paper that is already full. There is no space left. That's what happens in your mind. Important information gets buried under unnecessary content. So if you want better memory, you must protect your attention. Start your day with a moment of quiet. Before checking your phone, give your mind time to wake up. Limit what you consume. Not everything deserves your attention. Take short breaks from screens. Let your brain breathe. You can also write your thoughts at the end of the day. This clears your mind and helps you focus on what matters. Think of your mind like a garden. If you allow too many weeds to grow, they will take over. But if you care for it, remove what is unnecessary, and protect what is valuable, it becomes a place where strong ideas can grow. Memory is not only about adding, it is also about removing what doesn't belong. Now take a step back and look at everything you've learned. You understand how memory works. You know the importance of attention. You can turn words into images, build stories, and use repetition. You can add emotion, teach others, use space, review before sleep, write things down, and test yourself. And you also know how to protect your mind. This is not just knowledge, this is a complete system. But here's the most important part. Knowing is not enough. You must use it.
Even one small habit, practiced daily, can change your memory over time. So ask yourself, will you apply this? Will you take action? Because real improvement does not come from watching, it comes from doing. And if you choose to use these steps, something powerful will happen. You will stop feeling confused. You will stop doubting your mind. Instead, you will feel clear, focused, and in control. And before you go, remember this. While you were listening, you were not only training your memory, you were also improving your English. Every sentence you heard helped you understand more, think more clearly, and learn naturally. So keep going, keep listening, keep practicing. And if you want to continue this journey, learning English while building a stronger mind, stay connected. There is so much more ahead. Your mind is powerful. Now it's time to use it.